We are in a recession. As of today, which is the end of 2022, we're in a recession, and going into 2023, we are going to experience more of the real estate recession. And I really just wanted to go over, I guess, some of the things to look out for if you're wholesaling in 2023 and how to wholesale in the recession. Is it dead? Like, what's going on? Like, can I still use this strategy? So that's what we're going over this video. And if you are new to the channel, my name is Justin You're Wrong, and I've helped hundreds of people make money in real estate. So first thing I want to clarify, wholesaling is actually the safest option out there for active income in real estate right now, today. The reason I say this is because if you're a house flipper or you're planning to house flipping has become a lot more risky. So if you're wholesaling and you're like, no, maybe now's the time to flip houses in a recession, do not make the shift. Reason is, if you're flipping these houses are sitting a lot longer on the market when you go to list them for sale, and they're selling for a lot less. So imagine you buy a house to flip, you put all this work into flip, and it takes like months longer to sell, and instead of selling it for $300,000, you're selling it for $270,000. This is literally happening across the country, I believe. I know it's happening in California, my state, but flipping houses has become a lot more risky. On the other hand, wholesaling has become so much more attractive because you're no longer in that risk of having a house for 6 months and paying all these holding costs, thousands and thousands of dollars to your lender every single month. And you're not taking on that risk of like selling a house for, a lot lower than you expected. You're never at risk. So wholesaling in this recession is a good thing. It's one of the best things, actually. So I wanted to clarify that first. Now, here are some things, I guess, to adjust. Wholesaling is not dead, but if you continue to do the same exact things that you've been doing in this recession or in a recession, no matter when you watch this video, you are going to fail. Like, if you just do the same thing that you've been doing, whatever you've been doing in the good market, if you continue to do that in the bad market, you're going to fail. You have to adapt. You have to change. Now, here are the things that you can change. The most important thing is to be more conservative with your ARVs when you're making these numbers. So when you're making your offers and you're calculating your numbers, just be super conservative with the ARVs, because what you have to realize is that these house buyers or these flippers, the end buyers that you're selling your houses to, is that they're not buying at these high prices anymore. Because you're in a recession, they've hopefully adjusted. If they're good flippers, maybe you might get lucky. You might sell a few deals to some bad flippers buying at super high prices still. But majority of the time, you're going to be talking to these more experienced flippers when you're selling their houses, and they're going to be paying so much more less because they're budgeting for lower ARVs. And they have to do this because in the recession, these houses are not selling for as much. And first of all, if you're not familiar with ARV, I probably should have explained this. An ARV is an after repair value. It's basically what the house is going to be worth after someone fixes it up. So if a flipper, instead of budgeting for an ARV of $300,000, they're like, no, like this house is going to sell for $270,000. You as the wholesaler probably should make that same exact adjustment when you're crunching your numbers and making your offers, because hopefully you're making your offer somewhat based on the ARV, hopefully, but you have to adjust just like the flippers are, because if you want to sell your houses successfully, you have to get deeper discounts. And in order to get deeper discounts, you have to crunch the numbers better, more conservatively, make lower offers. So that's the first thing that you should be doing. The second thing that you should be doing to adjust is to estimate higher repair costs for these flippers. And of course, it kind of depends on how you calculate your numbers, but how I calculate my numbers when I make offers is I include some repair cost in there, even if I'm wholesaling. And the reason is because this is what the flippers do. The flippers have to budget to figure out, okay, what's the house going to cost to fix up? What's it going to sell for? What do I have to offer? Like, this is kind of what they have to do. So as a wholesaler, if you want to adjust and you want to make sure that you're able to sell your properties, you have to budget for bigger repair costs, because honestly, contractors in this time are charging a lot more. At least that's what I'm seeing. Like, I don't know what's going on across the nation, but in California, in my market, Fresno, California, mainly, the Central Valley of California, I'm seeing that contractors are paying, or they're charging a lot more for their construction. And I don't exactly know why. I don't really care. I just know that they're charging me more. And so for every house that I'm offering on, I have to budget more. So if you typically budgeted $35 a square foot for your rehab estimates, maybe budget 40, maybe budget 45, whatever it is. Like, every market's different. Like I know there are some markets where you literally have to budget like $80 a square foot, whatever it is. I don't know. But just budget more for the rehabs, because realize that contractors are charging a lot more now. So ARV, the repairs, the next thing you have to budget for, if you utilize this in your calculations, which you should, like, utilize this, but it's holding time. You have to understand, even as a wholesaler, that these flippers are going to be holding on to these houses for a lot longer times. So when you're crunching your numbers, try to factor in holding time on your numbers. So most of the times in a good market, when I flip a house, it might take me literally 4 to 5 months to finish the entire flip, to fix it up, to sell it, and like finally get rid of it. 4 to 5 months. In this recession, like that 4 to 5 months has changed to like 8 months. Like weird, it taking so much longer to sell these houses because they're just sitting longer. Contractors are not as available. And so I'm having to budget for, longer holding times as a flipper and as a wholesaler, because as a wholesaler, you want to make sure that these flippers, one, are making money too, and that they're willing to buy your deals. And if you're not budgeting for the holding cost, it can really eat up at their profits and your profits, because they're not going to be offering you as high of prices. So, but just, and in a nutshell, the basic concept is to just be more conservative with everything when you're calculating your numbers. The next thing that you should be doing to adjust in this recession is to nurture your buyers a lot more. You want to make sure you're in constant contact with your buyers, maybe not constant, but in more contact with your buyers, to make sure that, okay, who is still buying here and how have their criteria changed? If you can understand your buyers, you can understand what kind of changes they make on top of what I'm telling you right here, like what changes to make. You'll understand much, much better on how to adjust. Just ask them, like, hey, like, I know we're in a recession. Like, what are you doing? Are you still buying? Are you still buying in these areas? What kind of criteria has changed for you, so you can get a better understanding of what they want? Just ask them these questions, follow up with them, make sure that you have them on your radar, essentially. Just nurture them more, because what you'll find is that there are a lot less buyers. Everyone kind of gets fearful when these recessions come. And now I see it. Like, this recession has came, and now I'm seeing a lot less buyers, and everyone's just fearful. But if you can remain, maybe you still can be scared, but otherwise, if you can just adapt, you can adapt to the recession, understand that everyone's going to be fearful. You have to nurture buyers, and you have to honestly be looking for more buyers constantly now. As a wholesaler in this recession, if your main exit strategy is to wholesale, and you maybe don't have the funds to buy the house, maybe you don't feel confident raising the money, which you should be, you should raise the money. But if that's your position and your only exit strategy is to wholesale, you for sure have to be looking for buyers constantly. So go on these Facebook groups, like real estate investing groups in your local areas, wholesaling groups, and just reach out to people, like DM or message every single person in those groups saying, hey, I'm looking for more buyers in this area. Let's connect. I want to figure out what you're looking for. And just constantly reach out to people, and then nurture those people too. Nurture all the new people. This is how you survive the recession as a wholesaler. Nurture them, find more. And the last thing that you should do to help you become successful in a recession as a wholesaler is to get better at negotiating. The whole common theme about this whole recession thing and succeeding as a wholesaler is being conservative, right? You want to be conservative. You realize that everyone's fearful, and get better deals. Now, you can get better deals one by one, making lower offers. But because you're making these lower offers, you probably have to be better at negotiating too. Because if you make a super low offer and you're a sucky negotiator or a sucky salesperson, you're probably not going to get the deal. Like, you might make the low offer, which is great. You should be doing that. But you have to learn how to listen to the sellers, because that's really what sales is. If you ever listen to a sales call of mine or anyone else who's doing good business, is they kind of shut up for a lot of the times. They shut up, they ask very open-ended, prodding questions to get to the point, to figure out if the seller is truly motivated in what they want. But after they ask the questions, they just listen. They listen, they be quiet, and they figure out, okay, what does the seller want? And how can I give it to them? Like, that's what you're trying to think of as you're having these conversations. So get better at negotiating. If you are struggling to do it just by talking to the sellers, and you're losing out on a lot of deals, maybe consider getting like a sales coaching or a program or something like that. They work. Like, I've taken a sales program, and it's helped me a lot, to be honest. I remember I was I was decent at sales already because I would just listen to people and I try to be nice, friendly, and just talk to people, you know? But if you struggle with it, yeah, maybe find a coach. Like those are the biggest things that I could say as far as succeeding as a wholesaler in 2023. And if you just want help overall to grow your real estate investing business or your wholesaling business, I want you to click on the link in the description below for a free strategy session. But otherwise, peace.